The mahogany doors of courtroom 5A swung open with a groan that echoed through my veins, like the weight of 2 years' worth of buried pain finally breaking free. I stepped inside, my sensible black pumps clicking against the polished marble floor, each step a deliberate march toward the reckoning I'd been crafting in the shadows. The room was packed, friends, colleagues, nosy neighbors, all turning their heads, their judgmental whispers slithering through the air like smoke. They saw me as the broken wife, the one who'd lost her grip on reality. Little did they know, I'd been sharpening my claws in silence, turning every stab of betrayal into fuel. My hands gripped a worn leather portfolio, stuffed with the kind of truth that could topple empires. Across the room, David sat ramrod straight at the defendant's table, his tailored navy suit screaming success, his silver-streaked hair perfectly combed, glancing at his Rolex as if this divorce hearing was just another boardroom negotiation. He didn't even glance my way, too busy exchanging smug nods with his shark of a lawyer. Mr. Hargrove. Behind him perched Margaret, his mother, in her signature pearl gray ensemble, her silver bob haircut severe and unyielding, lips pursed in perpetual disapproval. And right beside her, Sophia, the sleek brunette who'd been warming my husband's bed for over a year, her emerald dress hugging her curves like a victory flag, her manicured nails tapping impatiently as she flipped her hair with feigned boredom. As I passed their row, Margaret's voice cut through the hum, sharp and carrying. Poor deluded soul. I kept walking, spine steel straight, though my pulse thundered in my ears like a storm building on the horizon. Sophia chimed in next, her tone dripping false pity. She actually believes she's the victim here. Their chuckles rippled outward, joined by David's golf pals and business cronies, all shaking their heads in mock sympathy. They thought they were witnessing a pathetic spectacle, a scorned woman about to be stripped bare and sent packing. I reached my table, setting down the portfolio with deliberate calm. My attorney, M.S. Rivera, fidgeted with her notes, her dark eyes darting nervously to Hargrove. He had a reputation for eviscerating opponents in family court, and she knew it. Emma, are you sure about this? She murmured, voice laced with doubt. I met her gaze, my voice a quiet thunder, more than they've ever imagined. Judge Ellis entered then, a no-nonsense woman with wire-rimmed glasses and a gaze that could pierce steel. We'd all heard the stories, 20 years on the bench. Zero tolerance for deception. Be seated, she commanded, her tone brooking no nonsense. Proceedings in the matter of Hayes versus Hayes. Hargrove rose first, adjusting his silk tie with theatrical flair. Your Honor, my client David Hayes is a pillar of the community, a self-made real estate developer who's built a thriving empire from scratch. Regrettably, Mrs. Hayes has grown increasingly erratic, hurling baseless accusations of infidelity and financial misconduct. She's rejected generous settlements, driven by unfounded paranoia. The whispers swelled, eyes boring into me like accusations. Hargrove pressed on, his voice swelling with mock generosity. Mr. Hayes seeks only equitable division, the firm he founded, the home he financed through sweat and savvy, and assets earned through his acumen. Mrs. Hayes runs her modest consulting business. She'll fare just fine with a fair share. He painted me as the villain, the unstable one clinging to delusions. Margaret nodded along, dabbing at dry eyes. Sophia examined her nails, smirking like she'd already claimed her prize. Judge Ellis turned to M.S. Rivera. Response from Mrs. Hayes. I touched my lawyer's arm, standing myself. The room hushed to a pin-drop silence. Your Honor, I said, voice steady as a blade, I have evidence that will illuminate the truth. I approached the bench, handing over the portfolio. Eyes followed every move. But the mocking murmurs had evaporated. What manner of evidence? The judge inquired. Flipping it open. Bank transfers. Surveillance photos. Correspondence. Affidavits, proof of my husband's deceptions and crimes. David shifted uneasily for the first time. Hargrove objected half-heartedly. But Judge Ellis silenced him with a wave. She delved in, her expression shifting from impartial to incredulous as pages turned. 20 agonizing minutes ticked by, the air thickening with unspoken dread. Finally, she looked up, her face a mask of controlled fury. A faint, knowing smile tugging at her lips. "Oh, she does," she murmured, echoing the taunts thrown at me earlier. The words landed like a grenade. Margaret's jaw slackened, Sophia's smirk shattered, David paled, clutching Hargrove's sleeve. I sat composed, a warm ember of vindication igniting within. But I held it close. This was merely the spark before the blaze. Flashback 2 years. And my life gleamed like a polished facade in a glossy magazine spread. David and I shared a sprawling colonial home in suburban Connecticut. One I'd helped design during my early days as a management consultant. Every detail from the granite island in the kitchen to the floor-to-ceiling bookshelves a testament to our shared dreams. David was the ideal partner then, charming, ambitious, greeting me each morning with a coffee and a kiss. His cologne a mix of sandalwood and assurance. "You're my rock, Emma," he'd whisper, pulling me close before heading to his downtown office. Evenings brought surprises, tickets to Broadway shows, whispered plans for our future. Coming from a modest upbringing, scraping through college on scholarships, his affection felt like a hard-won fairy tale. We hosted dinner parties where he'd boast about my consulting firm, making me blush with pride. But lurking in the wings was Margaret, David's mother, a widow who'd clawed her way through life after his father's early death. She dropped by unannounced, her critical eye sweeping our home like a searchlight. "This place could use a woman's touch," she'd say, rearranging my carefully curated vases. "And that roast too dry. Dear. David prefers it moist." I'd bite my tongue, forcing a smile. "Thanks for the tip, Margaret." She'd correct me sharply, "Mrs. Hayes, if you please." Familiarity breeds contempt. After 7 years married, she still treated me like an interloper on trial. Her barbs escalated, my outfits too casual, my cooking too experimental, my career ambitious but distracting from homemaking. David? He'd dismiss it with a shrug. "Mom's just protective. She means well, raised me solo." "You know, protective how?" I'd press after one particularly vicious visit where she'd critiqued my holiday decor. "She wants the best for us," he'd reply, eyes on his phone. "Cut her some slack, she'll warm up." But she never did. Her intrusions growing bolder, moving my belongings, leaving helpful notes on how to properly run a household. Around then, David changed subtly, longer hours, vague explanations. "Big deal closing," he'd mutter. "I ask you at midnight." His phone became a constant companion, buzzing at odd hours, taken to private corners. Receipts appeared, lavish dinners for two on solo work nights, hotel charges in the city. When questioned, he'd erupt, snooping now. "Emma? Can't a man have privacy?" "I'm not snooping, I found it folding laundry." "Client schmoozing," he'd snap, crumpling the paper. "That's how deals get done. If you understood business, you wouldn't be so clingy." His words carved deep, making me doubt my own sanity. I'd built my consulting firm from a home office to a team of 10. Yet he reduced me to naive. Margaret amplified it, arriving post-argument like a vulture. "Men need space. Dear. Your constant questions push them away. I started a private notebook, jotting inconsistencies, not out of spite, but to anchor myself amid the gaslighting. That notebook would become my lifeline, a silent record of the unraveling. The cracks widened on a rainy April evening. David claimed a late strategy session for a major property flip, so I prepared his favorite steak au poivre, keeping it warm till 11. He stumbled and rumpled, reeking of jasmine perfume. Not mine. Tough negotiations, he grumbled, avoiding my eyes. What negotiations? You said it was solo prep. He paused mid-step, with partners last minute. Business never sleeps. The next day, a receipt in his blazer, intimate dinner at Le Bernardin, our engagement spot, with wine and dessert for two. Confronted, he raged, pockets now? What's next? Tailing me, dry cleaning habit, pockets first. Client wooing Mrs. Kensington, potential investor. She loves tiramisu. Lies stacked like Jenga blocks. Teetering. Weeks later, our anniversary. I surprised him at the office with an engraved pen set, hoping for lunch like old times. The receptionist frowned. Mr. Hayes left hours ago with a brunette. Stunning one. Seemed rushed. My drive home blurred with tears. The gift mocking me. That night, productive day, non-stop meetings, grabbed a desk salad. Another fabrication. Noted meticulously. Calls at midnight. His soft laughter echoing from the hall, the kind once reserved for me. Margaret's dig sharpened. You seem worn. Emma. Stress ages you fast. Try that serum I mentioned. David echoed her subtly. His gaze critical. Defenses absent. I shrank inwardly, avoiding reflections. Dressing down. Feeling erased. Yet the notebook grew lies. Calls. Cruelties, my quiet armor against the madness they imposed. The shattering came one crisp October midnight. David headached to bed early. I worked late on a client proposal. His tablet glowed on the counter. Email open. A name leaped, Sophia Reed. Our realtor from years back, flirty. Ambitious. Always lingering too close to David during viewings. Heart hammering. I clicked, missed you today. Lover. Tomorrow. Usual suite, I'll wear the green lingerie. Emails cascaded back 18 months. Rendezvous plans. Stolen weekends. Photos of them in luxury spots. Sophia in jewelry from receipts I'd questioned. Worse, financial docs in a hidden folder, transfers from my firm's accounts to secret ones in David's name alone. Over $250,000 siphoned, funneled to debts and gifts. He bragged to her, soon it'll be ours, Emma's too blind to notice. I printed it all. Hands trembling. Restoring the tablet precisely. Sleepless. I pored over the betrayal. The man who'd vowed forever now mocked me as draining in messages. Morning brought his cheerful facade. Sleep okay? Babe? I laid out the prints, explained Sophia. Color fled his face. Then a chilling laugh. Cat's out. Huh, that's it. He leaned back. Unrepentant. Sophia's alive. Exciting, you're just. Predictable. Bored me stiff. The money? Theft. Our money, I earned it indirectly. Your firm? My network boosted it. The door creaked. Margaret. Everything all right? Seeing the papers. She smiled faintly. Ah. The truth emerges. You knew. Of course, Sophia's perfect for him. You've been smothering him. They sat allied. Blaming me. Divorce, I declared. Finally, David sneered. You'll get scraps. Their arrogance sealed it. I'd turned silence into a storm. The next dawn, I parked outside Alvarez Private Investigations, clutching a card from Discreet Searches. Detective Maria Alvarez, ex-cop with a rep for unearthing marital rot and fiscal crimes. welcomed me warmly despite her stern features. I spilled the prince, he's cheating. Stealing, uncover it all. She nodded gravely, this is solid. But we'll dig deeper. Ready for uglier truths? Absolutely. Over 4 months. She shadowed them. Unearthed horrors. David hadn't stopped at Sophia, affairs with 4 others, his assistant Lisa 2 years back. Client Rebecca. Gym acquaintance Tara. Barista Zoe. Pattern player, Alvarez reported. Promises the world. Ghosts when bored. Financially? Catastrophic. His real estate firm hemorrhaged cash from bad flips and his secret vice, online betting. Vegas runs. Debts to sharks, used your funds to pay. Tax fudging. Fake deductions, criminal territory. Prison possible. We collected affidavits. Doormen spotting trysts. Servers recalling dates. Colleagues overhearing boasts. David smeared me as unhinged to allies. Margaret amplifying at her bridge club. Poor David's trapped with a paranoid mess. Maybe institutionalize her. Sophia? Complicit. Emails plotting asset splits. Month 4's bond. David embezzled from partners 200 skimmed. They'll crucify him, Alvarez said. The folder swelled to 4 inches. Irrefutable ruin. This ends him, are you certain? I envisioned their mockery. My erased self. They chose this path, now the toll. Proceedings dawned frigid in February. Courtroom overflowing with David's entourage. Primed for my downfall. He preened in his power suit, Margaret primped like a queen, Sophia flaunted possessively. Hargrove launched, Your Honor. David Hayes. Esteemed developer. Seeks escape from a toxic union. Mrs. Hayes, delusional. Rejecting fair terms. Sympathy murmurs rose. David testified smoothly, loved her once. But she's obsessive snooping. Accusing baselessly. Margaret wept theatrically, tried helping. But she's hostile. Unstable. Sophia simpered, harassed me out of jealousy, pity David. Lies layered. Painting me monstrous. Then my turn. Judge Ellis absorbed the folder. Face hardening at transfers. Photos. Fraud proofs. Mr. Hargrove, aware of your client's embezzlement? Tax evasion? Gambling debts paid with stolen funds. Chaos erupted, partners glaring. Whispers turning venomous. Mr. Hayes. Stand, you've perjured. Defrauded. Stolen. Assets frozen. IRS alerted. DA recommended for charges. To Margaret. Accessory investigated. Sophia. Perjury. Conspiracy. Pandemonium. Sobs. Shouts. Escorts. David crumpled. Eyes pleading briefly too late. I received the home. Restitution. Alimony. Outside. Media swarmed, his empire crumbled. Alvarez patted my shoulder. Feel vindicated? Liberated, I replied. Their betrayal forged my steel. I'd paid the price in silence. But the explosion was mine. Raw and unrelenting.